The disturbing case of Tsutomu Miyazaki. In the late 1980s, Japan faced one of the most disturbing criminal cases in its modern history. A quiet nation known for its safety was suddenly gripped by fear. Between 1988 and 1989, a series of child disappearances shocked communities and left families devastated. The man responsible was Tsutomu Miyazaki. Born in 1962 in Tokyo, Miyazaki grew up in a relatively stable household. However, from a young age, he was described as withdrawn and socially isolated. He struggled to build friendships and often kept to himself. As he grew older, that isolation deepened. After finishing school, he worked various part-time jobs, but failed to establish a stable career or meaningful relationships. Miyazaki spent much of his time alone in his room, which was later found filled with thousands of videotapes, magazines, and recordings. Media outlets would later focus heavily on this detail, using it to shape a narrative about obsession and subculture. But behind the headlines was a far more disturbing reality. Over the course of several months, Miyazaki abducted and murdered 4 young girls. The crimes were calculated and deeply horrifying, sending waves of panic throughout Japan. Parents became fearful. Children were warned not to walk alone. The sense of security many once felt began to disappear. His arrest came in July 1989, when he was confronted by the father of a young girl he had been attempting to photograph in a park. Miyazaki fled, but was quickly
速報です。
apprehended.
宮崎千乃容疑者が
When
逮捕されま
police
した。
searched his
都内
vehicle
での一連
and
の幼女誘
later
拐
his
殺人事件の犯人と
apartment,
み
they
られています。
uncovered evidence linking him to the earlier crimes. What they found inside his room shocked even seasoned investigators. During his trial, Miyazaki claimed he was controlled by an alter ego and gave inconsistent, often bizarre statements. Psychological evaluations were conducted, but the court ultimately determined that he was legally sane and fully responsible for his actions. In 1997, he was sentenced to death. After years of appeals, the sentence was carried out in 2008. The case left a lasting impact on Japanese society. It sparked debates about media influence, mental health awareness, and the dangers of extreme isolation. Even decades later, the name Tsutomu Miyazaki remains associated with one of the darkest chapters in Japan's criminal history, a tragic reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked violence and psychological instability.